remixing the AES was a very natural thing to do, and I heard the original of Zero, which I liked, but I wasn't, aware at all how to make it work in a club context. So I think the kind of opening to this mix was those brilliant tom drums that are in the original. There's these great kind of pounding drums that I thought would sound brilliant in a kind of in a house production, but using the drums similar to that track Video Clash. We got these kind of really dramatic drums, but with very repetitive synth lines. So that, I think, was the approach to it. I kind of began with that, using Karen's whispered vocal, because in the stems there's this really nice whispered, gentle part which she double tracked over the main part, which I don't really think you can kind of hear in the original track, but it was in there, and as is much of the time, you end up kind of finding something like a really small detail that inspires where you can go with a remix. And this was a perfect case of that. So once I'd kind of had those drums, the whispered vocal, and this kind of bass line that I think that was at SH101 again, going round, it kind of all started coming together. And all I remember more of this one was the last thing that was added to it were those really resonant kind of high-pitched synth noises, because it felt like there was something missing. So that kind of came right near the end, and I think that I can't remember what I had in my head as to what I want those to sound like, but I remember writing it in, recording it in, and it not sounding that exciting. But then when you shifted it time-wise to be offbeat, all of a sudden it sounded great. So that's how that kind of came around. And again, it's another thing where you might have an idea for something and you'll put it in and it won't quite hit the spot, but play with it, try different things with it, try the timing, maybe try if it's in tune, try it out of tune, stuff like that. But if you've got some kind of line of inspiration, there usually is a way of making it work if it hasn't worked when you tried it. So that was one thing that I kind of I had to do on this mix. But it was this mix was definitely geared towards being played in quite sweaty, intense rooms, which was what was happening a lot around this era. It was definitely it was definitely designed for almost like, I don't know, like stage diving, I suppose. It was the kind of culminative era of like 2010, 2009. I can't remember what year it was it came out. Maybe 2009 actually. It's a pretty intense track. I think the way it's mixed is quite intense. It's really it's in the red. It's really peaking. I may or may not have misjudged the compression on the master channel on this one.